Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Wendy, and I am about to continue my video diaries. This will be video diary number 10. If you would like to learn a little bit more about my past, then do please stay tuned. So before I get started, I'd like to remind you that I've been in recovery since 1997. I lived a different life back then than I live now, but I feel led to tell about that life so that if someone else is in that same situation, that you will know that there is help and there's help from above. So let's get started. So today I'm going to tell you about the first police chase that we got into. Um, we had gone down to Birmingham, Alabama, and picked up some cocaine. I don't remember how much we had gotten that day. I have no clue. But, we were headed back home on the interstate, I-59. And he was speeding. I don't know how fast he was going. It's been so long ago, but he was speeding. So we jet past this Bronco, a dark colored Bronco. And we no more get past it just a little ways and they flipped their lights on. Their dash lights, I think is where the light was coming from. And so we're at the, about at the Springville exit, the second one. So that leaves about 14 miles between the Springville exit and the Aniana exit. So he floors it. And we're flying down the interstate with this Bronco in pursuit. And he starts to tell me that we're going to switch places while we're flying down the interstate. That we're going to switch places and I'm going to drive. I thought in my mind, how is this possible? How is this going to be possible? I can remember thinking that, and he more had said it, and he started moving. He started scooting in my direction, and therefore I just, I don't know what was wrong with me back then. I have no excuses for my behavior, but I must have been a lunatic. Anyway, I start climbing over him to get behind the steering wheel as he scoots across the seat. We had one of those cars that had a full front seat. It had no console or anything. So we begin to change places, and I get my foot on top of his on the gas pedal. And then he gets his out of the way, and he shimmies on over into the passenger seat. So I'm flying down the interstate now. And we get close to that Aniana exit, and the Bronco is fading behind us. My papa left me a car. I inherited it, and it said 120 on the speedometer. That car would fly. And so we're pulling away from this Bronco as we're going down the interstate. And all of a sudden he says, "Get off here, get off here." And it was the Antiana exit, and I jetted off of that exit. I didn't slow down or take my foot off the gas. And then we didn't no more get on the exit ramp, and he said, floor it, get back on the interstate. Well, there's a stop sign and a road that goes across the bridge right there where you can get off, take a left, and go and get back on the interstate. Well, as fast as we were going, when we went up that off ramp and I got close, I didn't slow down now. The stop sign didn't mean anything to me. That car jumped that little road. It didn't come up off of the ground high or far, but it left the ground for just a moment. And then we plunged back down onto the on ramp. And I persisted on getting back on the interstate. And between the Aniana exit and the Steele exit, I believe there is 8 to 10 miles. So he wanted me to get back on because there was too much activity going on that off ramp. It was lit up. Obviously he was looking for somewhere to bail, and it couldn't be a lit up place. That wouldn't make any sense. None of it made any sense anyway. But anywho, so we're flying back down I-59. The Bronco is still fading further and further behind us. And we're coming up on the Steele exit. Now, whenever we had jumped that road at the Aniana exit, there was a cop sitting there that got on the interstate behind us in a regular cop car. But the way he was sitting, he had to turn around. I don't know if he had came from the other direction, but anyway, he had to turn around, so we got to jump on him as well. So now there's a regular police car and a Bronco following behind us. And we're pretty good bit of ways from the Bronco. I would say the only thing we could see were the lights of the Bronco. We were so far away from it. And the squad car, of course, had its lights on as well. It was closer than the Bronco, but it was still pretty far away because it did have to turn around. And so we're approaching the Steele exit, and he tells me, get off here, get off here. So I proceed to get off the interstate at the Steele exit. And when we got up to the stop sign, he said, stop right here, stop. And I did, and he jumped out and he ran toward the woods. So I pulled on up I drove on that road that came from the exit ramp for about a mile. And then I pulled the car over and I waited for the cops to get there because I knew they were still in pursuit. I didn't want to die that night. And out of all of this, I am so ashamed to say our 2 children were sitting in the back seat buckled during this escapade. And I didn't want to kill us all. So that is just, it's been so hard to live with that all these years, but it is the truth. And I pulled over, I unbuckled, I waited for them to get there. The district attorney for St. Clair County is who was driving the Bronco. And he come running up to the vehicle and asked me, was I out of my mind? And then he saw the kids and he started cursing. I got 5 tickets that night. A book of tickets. I got 5. 1 for reckless driving, 1 for speeding over 100 plus, 1 for child seat belts not being applied, which they were buckled in the whole time. Whenever I pulled over and they saw the police lights coming, they unbuckled their seat belts and stood up and looked out the back window. I got a ticket for eluding, and there was 1 more. Let's say reckless driving, speeding over 100 miles an hour, child restraint, eluding, and what could the other one be? I remember very well that I got 5 tickets that night because a couple of months later I had to go to court, and I paid all of those tickets when I went to court. But there were 5 of them, and I don't remember the charges on the last one, but the life that I lived was touched by the hand of God the whole time, or I would not have survived the life that I had created for myself. There is no way that if God had not been upon me, that I didn't overdose, crash the car in these police chases, kill somebody else during these pursuits. And, I think back on it now, and it's like it happened to someone else. It's not even like it happened to me, but it happened to me. It made me the person I am today. I am a God fearing, God loving individual, and God delivered me from the addiction of crack cocaine. I cried out to him, and he came, and he saved me, and he set me free, and he delivered me from that life. And my kids survived it somehow or another. It's all a miracle. So when they got through writing me the book of tickets, the 5 tickets, um, he said, if it wasn't for these children, I would take you to jail right now. So I don't know what he would have took me to jail for. I mean, I didn't have anything on me. My ex-husband had it all in his pocket and in the woods somewhere. So I turn around and I head back out the way I had came. And when I get up to the intersection right there where you get on the interstate, I slowed down, even though they were behind me, to see if I saw him anywhere. And of course, I didn't see him anywhere. And so I pulled over. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And then the cop got out and came up there and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, when I made this turn earlier, a stuffed animal of one of my children's flew out the window, and I was hoping I could see it." He said, "What you need to do is get home." And so I got back on the interstate, and I went to his mom's house and told her what had happened. And she and I and the kids went back to look for him, and he was walking down the side of the interstate. Um, and then I'm sure we went home and smoked our share of crack. So that's how my life went for a long time. Chaos and craziness and insanity. Just insane actions and behavior. But after all, it did make me the person I am today. A recovered, grateful, God fearing individual. Everybody be safe, be kind to one another, and I shall see y'all in my next upload. Bye.